It is. I had to turn my radio down. Oh, it's finally recording.
Here we go. We are recording, everybody. Welcome back. Small Business Safari Adventure Team. We've got a great episode teed up. And the reason it's teed up is there may or may not have been a couple of pre-beers before we started this podcast.
And the 2 bottles of whiskey in front of you, Chris.
And I do have 2 bottles of whiskey. I think there's a George Thorogood song in there somewhere, right? 2 bottles
Rusty,
of whiskey.
what is that garbage in that bottle that
There's
you
a
have?
lot of evidence on the table.
What is that?
It's a juice drink.
Like a pomegranate or something? It's pretty red.
Actually, apple, beet, and carrot. So I'd have to have enough energy to get up and keep going with you guys.
Now,
here.
Apple, beets, and carrot juice.
Are you a typical Georgia fan that you chose that juice because it was red as opposed to like an orange?
Well, it's got the top, so I don't understand what
Yeah,
was at the
I know that's
top
very
there, so,
conflicting.
yeah, I don't look good in orange, so
You know what?
let's get it out there.
The big thing that the juice is missing is vodka, baby. Let's go. All right, we're going to get started, everybody. We've got Rusty Clifton in studio. Is that not the best stage name for just the biggest badass you've ever met? And his name is Rusty Clifton. And he is my insurance agent. He does protect my house, my auto, because he is Rusty Clifton. Say hi to everybody, Rusty.
Hey, thank you there, Chris, for the big introduction here.
It does sound like a good private eye name.
It is awesome. Come on. I mean, Rusty Clifton. I mean, Jack Reacher has nothing on Rusty Clifton. This is way better. I mean, come on, man. Get with the program.
This all came from one round of golf. I should have never gone to play that game.
That's true.
Did you lose a bet, Rusty?
Did not lose the bet. We didn't have one on.
really?
No, he played good. And but yeah, my buddy slept his name. So we're going to talk all things insurance, but we're also going to talk about how to build an insurance company because Rusty has built a company called Fairway Insurance. Can anybody guess what his favorite sport is yet?
Well, I know it's Georgia football, but it has nothing to do with fairways.
Well, it could be. No? Maybe
I always have 18 appointments every day. So,
nice. I like it.
I wish that was the case, but somebody's got to do the job.
So, Rusty, you were born and raised here in Georgia.
No,
Where were you born?
Petersburg, Virginia.
Wow.
1969. So you're familiar with that area, working for SunTrust. So you
That's
know where
right.
it is.
I do.
It's a heck of a
How'd you find your way to Georgia?
In 76, my father was transferred to Macon, and he was working at Brandon Williamson Tobacco Corporation, and that's when they started the new plant down here. So we moved here, and everything's been history since then, and moved up to Atlanta in 1991. So I've been in Atlanta for 31 years now.
31.
It's a long time.
Wow.
Hard to think about that.
That it starts to hit a little bit, doesn't it?
It is home, unfortunately. You
Yeah.
know, I don't go back to Macon often. My mom's still there, but I love Atlanta, and that's where I put my roots down. And
There are
Better
hot
life.
places in the world, but is Macon not one of the hottest places in the world?
it's where the gnat line begins, my friend. That's all you need to know.
That gnat line is a real thing.
What is the gnat line for everybody listening? Because we have listeners right now in England and India.
Yeah. So I-16, look at your map. North of that, you don't have gnats. South of that, you have gnats, and they just swarm around your face and any little orifice you may have exposed.
And so there you have it. So
Yeah.
So not
Just
exactly God's country in Macon. I don't think God worked out the world and said, Macon, you're there. I think he said, Macon, hey, devil, I got a great place for you, bro.
That's where Capricorn Records came from.
There we go. So you came up to Atlanta. So you immediately started an insurance business, been an insurance man all your life then?
No, I started
Oh.
actually in the mortgage industry back in 1997 and working as wholesale account rep. And then, as things go along, you were part of this as well. And 2008 comes around and you got to figure out what you're going to do when you grow up because it
Right.
was the
Well,
end of.
So you got
Financial
into mortgage.
markets.
You got in the mortgage wholesale side. So for a lot of listeners out there may or may not understand what that is. Just that's not selling mortgages to the end user. So what were you, the end user being homeowners? I guess I should use that real word.
Yeah.
But so tell us a little bit about what that world was like.
So the Big Short obviously tried to define it one way, but I would argue with you a different way on the Big Short. But we called them mortgage bankers, brokers, and financial guys, and actually we were the bank on the end. So we were funding the loans, underwriting the loans. Then we take them to Wall Street and securitize them and sell them off as mortgage-backed securities. And of course, that's the end of 2008 since the last time they did mortgage-backed securities. So you got to find something else when you want to do when you grow up, and
So
here it is.
you said the movie The Big Short, but the movie I was thinking of in the world you were in was more like Anybody to help me there?
No, you're on
Come
your,
on,
you're on
really?
your own island.
Wolf of Wall Street?
Oh,
Wolf of
Come
Wall
on,
Street.
baby. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking Rusty Clifton, mortgage-backed securities. Man, high rolling, big money everywhere, money flying out of everywhere. He's just doing everything about a big boat. He's up there, he's flying, he's strapping money out to whip it and fly it all over the world. Was that what it was like before 2008?
Well, at the time in the mortgage business was very successful from, after the trade center in 9/11 and rates came down and it just exploded. So we had a really good 5-year run. And so, yeah, it was somewhat like that to some respects. It ain't like that anymore from what I hear. So, but
Wolf of Wall Street, baby. I knew it.
I knew
Actually-
Chris would go that high on that.
Oh
he
yeah,
would
come on.
think
You know I
about
was
that.
going low, bro. Yes, because I do remember that world because I was on the other side and the credit world in the bank going, hey, I think something's going wrong here. I don't know. Why are those guys all partying so hard? How come we don't get to? Because you're in the bank. Get back there. Get to work. So you're flying high,
Pay for the big
and
desk.
then here we go. Boom.
Yeah. So, working for Merrill Lynch at the time and had to go figure out something I was going to do and thought about being a financial advisor and went back to Oglethorpe University and thankful that Merrill Lynch was going to pay for it. And, as I was going to their school, I had to get insurance licenses, both property and casualty and health and life. And so I knew a few people in the mortgage industry. I figured I'd start calling them, work for a friend of mine for a year and a half. And then from their perspective on, we tried to make a business decision and him and I had a kind of a conversation about starting and working together. And then I decided that it just wasn't going to work. I didn't have partnerships are not my thing. I don't like people playing in my sandbox. And so I
there
went out
seems to
on
be
my
a
own.
common thread here between you two.
Ah, interesting. So he's my insurance agent, and he just said he's not a good partner. And I just said in another podcast, the last thing I was going to get was a fucking partner because I trust nobody.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it had something to do with having a big ego too.
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe Rusty, you have a big ego, man. Come on, man. Get yourself in check, bro. Come on. It's not just me. What? All right. So you did that. So did you just fall into insurance or you started saying, oh, there might be something here with it? I mean,
You got to evaluate, where you are in life. And, 40 years old, I think about the time. And, what can I do when I'm 70 years old? What does my life look like? Because for 6 months, I didn't do anything. It was kind of a little bit of retirement and I could just hang out and play golf. And heck, nobody else was retired. They were all having to work and I had to go play golf with the older guys. And so that kind of got boring for a minute. And so I didn't think retirement life was for me. So I just was great to get back into something else. And, insurance kind of was one of those roads where I said, 70 years old, I don't want to start over. How can I just keep going month after month after month, have that residual income? Problem with the mortgage business, every month you're trying to find a new client and trying to get that guy closed. And once you get him closed, you're going to find another client. So you're starting over at zero.
right.
And I just didn't want to do that. There's lots of ups and downs. You got a rate sensitive market. You got a cyclical market based on the sales cycles and things like that. So it was just something that I just got burned out on. Closing 100 loans a month was just stressful, and they were all purchases, and you're trying to get people in houses in 30 days. You got a lot of pressure, and you're meeting with a lot of people. So, from that perspective, that's what insurance kind of reminded me of a little bit. I still need that adrenaline going through me. I feel like I need to accomplish something every month. So set my goals that way. And then once we achieve those goals, we go into the next month, right? So we just kind of set those same goals, but it just kept that constant movement in the cycle of working with the client. And that's what I liked about the insurance side of the business. So.
Well, and the insurance, to your point, you build residuals, you build a client base, whereas in the mortgage industry, it's just one and done every single time.
Yeah. And that's the thing I tell people all the time, you close that loan, you throw it over the shoulder, you go find the next one. But in the insurance world, it's from cradle to grave.
In theory, but it's a question that I have right now. It's got to be tough in your industry because it's, we're all, you and I are the same age where you had a relationship with your insurance agent and it was cradle to grave. But now, I don't know if it's millennials or marketing or whatever, but it's become super commoditized. And, it just kind of seems like it goes to the lowest bidder. So how are you navigating those waters?
That's a good question, a great question, because obviously it's very challenging and it's continuing to get challenging moving forward, right? Because at the end of the day,
Alan had a
everybody
great
is-
question.
So we're going to take notes by that.
We got our own little competition going on that.
It's a great question. Didn't mean to get you off your vibe, and I took you out of the flow, but yes, Alan had a good question. So let's go back and answer that
It
question.
really annoys Chris when the guest goes, "Alan, that's a great question."
Well, let me see if I can get a nugget. then in this one.
All right, here we go. I want to hear some nuggets. I know you're on your way, so make it flow, big boy.
So at the end of the day, when you go online and you try to buy, you're not sure what you should buy anyway. And I had a good attorney tell me the other day is if you're going to buy insurance, you should have to work with somebody, because if you don't know what you don't know, when shit happens, you got a problem. And you may not be buying the best product. It may be the cheapest product, but you're not buying the best product. So to your point is, how do we get by that? We built a service team behind our agency. There's three great girls that I have, Lori, Andrea, and Kai, and they do an amazing job. And without them, I'm only as good as the people behind me. So that's just really what it is. I have a great team, and I fit well with my team, and my team supports my weaknesses.
Do you have your team actually have like a regular touch points with your customers as opposed to just being there, ready to go when the phone rings?
It is a reactive kind of business, right? Because something bad has to happen, and we've got to respond pretty quickly. And so during the sales cycle of the initial ones, yes, we do have some touch points that we just want to make sure everybody knows who to go to.
Mm-hmm.
We send out some rocket referrals and some emails that obviously help with that from a technology standpoint. Love to say we were great at that. But we are trying to do that 90-day touch points with our clients and stuff. So
I will attest to this. My annual review came up just a month ago, and unsolicited, I got an email from Rusty saying, "I just shopped your insurance. I found a better rate for you. They do better coverage on your home because your home value has gone up." Yeah, again, back to what you don't know. This is where we need to talk about this, because first of all, we all hate insurance. I mean, you love it, Rusty. I know it, but we all hate it. We hate that we have to pay it. And when we finally get a claim, everybody wants to think they want to go to the bank. And I'm telling you that I'm talking about from the contractor experience.
Rusty's going for the bottle.
I like it. We're going high west, everybody. We're going high west.
I can tell I'm gonna need a really thoughtful answer on this one. Let me have another
Yeah.
sip.
Hey, stub your toe. There you go.
All right. There we go. It's all in. So unsolicited, I got, hey, here's your premium. Here's where your coverages were at. I was able to place you with this company. The coverages are the same, but the service is the same. And you have a lower premium. So what do you say to that?
Okay.
Yeah, of
thank
course.
you.
I say, okay. But did I do it on commodity? No, I went back and looked, and he said, your house was underinsured before. Now we've got it insured correctly, but yet we'll still lose money, or it save money doing it. You don't have to lose any money. And that was the thing he taught me when I first talked to him, is that you got to make sure you have that coverage for the house you have today, not the house you think you had 10 years ago. And you got to have that right coverage. I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. And he goes, and have you ever thought about an umbrella policy? I'm like, no, I have umbrellas.
It's not
They're
a
really
rainy day
handy
yet
in the
for
rain.
anybody.
Yeah.
I had that wrong.
We
So
did a lot more of that for this summertime, right?
yeah, we did. So that's the kind of stuff that people miss out. Can you go do 15 minutes brings you whatever, the Geico thing? So why wouldn't I go with Geico, and why should I go with you?
Obviously a great question, right? Because name usually is one of those things
good
that
Lord, Rusty, don't feed the ego. It was not a great question. I can answer that question for you, Rusty, just to prove it wasn't a great question.
Oh,
Because Rusty's
I'm gonna mute your
love
mic,
this
buddy.
competition.
Rusty's a multi-line agent. And so he basically is a one-stop shop, and he does the shopping for you.
Right.
I think what it comes down to is absolutely relationships, right? And we're at that point, and I've made some notes obviously to you about that we're in a comfort zone, and our clients have been with us sometimes, some of them 13 years. And so we're watching out for their best interest. We're paying attention to those renewals, and sometimes carriers just have one of those situations where they had a bad loss year. And so that's our responsibility. That's what my passion is, making sure that you're taken care of at the end of the day, and that you're getting the best value out of the money you're spending. So
Yeah, I also say that the ladies in the office have been dynamite in service. They always do a great job for us.
Well, the other
not that
thing
we've
I
had to have
found
a lot of claims.
when you have a good agent like Rusty who actually knows you, and then you do have the claim, that's to me where the difference is in the insurance companies. Because if you've just got some sort of online insurance, you've got no advocate. Rusty's your advocate. And the one thing I know is the insurance companies can hide behind the policies. but they do actually have the ability to inject common sense if somebody makes a good argument to take care of the client, but they won't if they don't have an advocate like you.
Well said.
Thank
well
you.
said.
Yeah, write that down, Chris.
Did you get a check for that too?
You know,
That.
that was over pandering, Rusty. Over pandering. That wasn't that good of a point. Actually, it wasn't a good point. But
I didn't have to add on to it, so it's good to me.
so to battle the commodity thing, your business as you grow, is your model right now? Do you want to just grow this thing to be in every state in the nation? I mean, tell us a little bit about your business acumen around where you want to be with your business in the insurance business.
Well, I think in the mortgage, I was a one-trick pony, right? And initially, the mortgage business wasn't that way, but over time, you do what you do best, and you just kind of funneled that way. And what I learned in the insurance business is it's so wide. You can do so many things. There's so many different products. You can call so many different clients, and it's specialized in certain areas like garages, like construction, home and auto. It's really not it's not a specialty, really. I mean, it's a commodity, like you said. But when you get into the commercial side, that's a specialist, and you need to work with somebody that's a specialist. And so I looked at those opportunities as a way to build risk enterprise, right? So that I wasn't going to be exposed to different cycles. So over the years, I wanted to protect the business cycle. And so we've just kind of gravitated every year by accident that we keep our AB clients a lot more than we keep our D clients, because we provide a great service on the back end. And I hope you want to respect us and our team and everybody. But if you don't, you may not be a client for us. And just kind of one of those things but we're going to take care of you. Because that's just what we feel is the right thing to do. If we do what's right by the client, you're going to love us, and that'll keep you coming back. But respect us too, because it is, like you said, nobody likes insurance, and they hate to pay that premium because they don't see any value in it. But when something goes wrong, they'll see value in us because we're going to be right there beside you, and we're going to walk you through that claim. And there's nobody better at this than I've been experienced at. Chris probably knows some history of some of my claims that I've been exposed to, and being able to help clients be at ease with that is a comfort.
Give us a good story.
Yeah, let's hear it. You don't have to name names, but you got to name some of the incidents because there's some good ones.
I wish I had some.
This is I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two.
You're right.
I take it so personally. So when something goes wrong, I feel like I've got to be the one that's there to correct it, and it's a bad way for me to be, really, because I should not take it so personal.
Well, as a client of yours, I would say, no, I can see that you do take it personally. You're just like, hey, bro, you got to pay it. Yeah, you're screwed, bro. Yeah, you're done. No, you were not like that at all. You're like, oh my God, this guy is just getting hammered. I'm like, oh no, what's happening?
Yeah. So, and being able to dive in it and recognizing those situations, to diffuse the problems, right? And help our clients get comfortable in those situations is what I really focus on, because things happen. Things do happen.
We're going to digress and give you a little time to think about it, but we still got to hear some good stories.
So let's go to the story. I think really one of the ones that
I need a little bourbon.
It's more about learning during the process, right? And we had a tragic situation happen with the client, and still not sure that we were totally responsible on our side, but that's for the court to decide, right? And the facts to decide those kind of things. And but it was a tragic situation, and it took 4 years to play out. And
4 years.
But you learn the process right there every time of getting into depositions, reservations of rights, and these kind of things that go on in the attorney world and the side of the legal side. When a client gets those, and they're calling us to give us the answers, hey, what's this process, things like that. And so I'm not saying this is a good story. It was just one of those that educated me the most about the process of how an actual bodily injury claim goes. And I think that's valuable that I can share with other people, because that experience is important, right? When you have that loss is important. I had a client that once we had his home and auto, and we had his motorcycle. And his motorcycle, he decided he wanted to go somewhere cheaper. And I only write motorcycle coverages one way, and I won't get too deep into that. But he had an accident. Somebody pulled out in front of him. mind you that somebody else had insurance. He never bought uninsured motorist, or he didn't buy enough uninsured motorists on his motorcycle policy. So when that car pulled out, we had to turn around and pick up that claim on our personal auto policy for him because we had wrote his policy with high limits of uninsured motorists. And so he turned around and was able to utilize that. So it's another one of those learning education moments that we were able to, have a good nugget from.
Do you
how to
get
handle
into
a
all that?
claim.
I mean, so I follow what he's saying. Is that something you want to do as a person, as a homeowner, as a business owner? Is really understand how the inner workings of insurance is, or do you want to let some expert do it for you?
Yeah, if you had a free throw for $1 million, do you want to take it or let LeBron James do it?
Hey, LeBron, I'll tell you what, can we go 50-50? Right.
So,
exactly. This is exactly right.
So Rusty, this, the people that tend to listen to our
Layup.
there you go. Yeah. This podcast is for people who are thinking about getting into business or who have their own small business. A lot of them are in the home services, but not all. So when they are starting their business and insurance is that, I got to have insurance. I mean, what are some things that you can advise them to think about? Because I'm sure there's like minimum policies, but what real claims are like. I mean, what do people need to know about business insurance?
Oh, well, it really comes down to the risk of the client. So, and I'm not saying from his perspective of what his risk profile is, but what that client is actually doing. And every industry's got some certain coverages that you got to have on that policy and certain forms. And so you just got to be really careful about not getting the right forms on that policy. I'll give you a prime example. We're not a warranty company, so we don't insure that the contractor at your house did the job correctly, but we can if we put that E&O on his policy. And most contractors don't have the E&O on their policy. They just bought the general liability. And at the end of the
Because
day,
they wanted to say, I'm insured.
I'm insured. And
Yeah.
nobody's 100% fully insured. So let's just really get it out there. It's one of those, statements out there that make me chuckle a little bit because we don't insure everything. There's certain things we just don't insure. We don't insure that the contractor built your house correctly. Right? They have construction defects, liens, and stuff like that.
So back to I asked a question and you were very political, by the way. You didn't answer it. Are you looking to grow your business?
Maybe it wasn't a great question.
It was a great question because I've asked him this before and he didn't answer it then, but I kind of know the answer. So because I think this is interesting, again, back to where you're growing your business, where you are in life, and what he's really trying to do. Because we've said this before in our podcast: if you're not growing, you're dying. But I've asked Rusty, I'm like, so you're growing, or are you? He goes, bro, I'm in the right spot, and I'm going to grow the way I want to grow. So I'm already answering his answer. Now I'm leading him along because I want to hear where he's going. Because the last I'd heard, he was going to buy something in Florida and go Georgia, Florida, and stay in that area. So that's what I wanted to hear about.
Yeah, we decided Florida was not the right opportunity to get into there. Obviously, you guys have seen the news and all the trouble with homeowners and carriers and ratings and things like that. So don't want to go too deep in that, but just bad timing for that. Not that we can't help clients in that area, but it just wasn't the right opportunity for us to expand our business.
Think about the clients, Florida, man.
Yeah.
So,
but growing is, one of those things that are difficult.
I just have to segue because it's too personal. If I was in a business in Florida, the one business I would be in right now is cremation. It took them 4 flipping weeks to cremate my mother after she died. I'm like, obviously people are dying to get in. And now I can finally say this without crying. It was like, you're right. Think about your clients in Florida. I will not be retiring to Florida. Because you know what happens when you go to Florida?
What?
You get cremated.
Uh-oh.
Everybody in Florida, no, I love you guys. I think it's great. And I've got a lot of friends in Florida. But anyway, so you chose not to go to Florida because of everything that was happening down there.
Yeah, just a bad environment to actually, take a big risk like that, because at the time, obviously COVID, you got margins are high in our industry and lately.
So you evaluated
and
and pull back. So right now you can write insurances in which states?
15.
Wow. Whoa. Hello. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have friends who have places in Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, North Carolina. So it's mostly southeastern states, or you
So
pick and choose?
anything that touches Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi are some of the states. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Colorado, California. Some of that's some specialty products that we write for specifically for the mortgage and bankers industry and stuff. So,
All right, so you can write North Carolina now.
well, we can. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Another question, because right now I'm with a carrier that with that second home that I talked about, I use it as a rental home, Alan, not vacation home. Unless
You
they
know,
have-
you can
unless
stumble
short
over your
term.
words all you want, but it
Unless-
is what it is.
And then my buddy just banged me because I said, yeah, we're going up to the cabin to work on it. He goes, you can't call a 3,500 square foot
Cabin,
Yeah.
cottage, the little
I said-
shack I have
I
in the
said, "Look,
woods.
Look, my man, that's what we call it. That's what I'm calling it. And I got to go up there, and that's all I'm going to do is work on it. He goes, no, you're not. You're just going to be going to the lake and drink.
That's the one thing.
I'm like, that's what you call working on it, man.
The only thing you downplay in your life. Everything else you pump up a little bit. You know, how come you let there just be a little cabin over there?
Just a little cabin.
Rusty, tell me about, you know, as long as I've known Chris, he's never invited me to play golf on his fabulous country club course. But what kind of stick is he?
He's average.
I'll take average. What are you laughing at, brother? I'll take average all day long. Because right now,
is
I'm
there
thinking-
anything good? Does he do anything well?
Yeah, he brings the beer and drinks it.
That's right.
Good golf buddy.
I am a
When
great
he
golf buddy.
supports golf, he brings the liquor and puts it out there. It's like for this Choa tournament. Are we playing in that
Yeah.
again? So
Yeah, we are. That's right. It's happening in September. Yep.
Yeah, we get
You're
a shout
lined
out to
up.
Matt for that. So
Big shout out. Let's talk about that. We could have pumped that up a little bit. Matt Burnt, Temperature Pro HVAC. Him and his wife put together a CHOA tournament. CHOA, for those listening, is the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. And it is an incredible hospital system that has helped two of my employees' kids, one of them immensely, to the point where she is now a spokesperson for them. And I can't say enough about what they do. So Matt said, hey, man, are you willing to sponsor that tournament again? I'm like, absolutely, bro. We absolutely got to do it. So we're going to play at Horseshoe Bend here in Atlanta. September 25th, maybe. It's a Monday. I'll tell you about it after. But sponsoring is a big part, you know, back to business and what you do, and you're starting out and you don't think you have any money to do things with it. And when you get a chance to be in a position where I'm at now, where I can actually sponsor and give back to an organization that I really know does a lot of good a lot of just incredible stuff. I mean, I've seen these kids come out of there. So yeah, we get a chance to go play some golf, knock it around a little bit, because I know Alan wanted to hear about what kind of stick it was, but now we're inviting Alan along.
right.
So,
Really? I'm getting a
Well,
public invite.
well, maybe I gotta see, because
I only play golf
last year,
twice a year anymore.
last year, Rusty and I played with a lady who played college golf and could have gone pro and was a PGA teaching professional at the Atlanta Athletic Club.
Shout out to Megan.
And shout out Megan.
You might want to keep
Levy.
Megan on the team.
I think you may be second.
Yeah.
Now,
All right.
Zach and I were the official beer drinkers on the team. So I'll see if they're not available, you're in.
Good.
Okay.
That sounds
So
great.
so you're the fifth option.
I'll keep the date open.
Feel
Thank you.
comfortable?
Thank you, Live Tournament.
He's
I
a
know
great
it.
friend, isn't he?
I went through everybody in my book and nobody could play. Can you play? I'd love to have you there.
Fine, Alan, we'll go play.
If it's any consolation, he's never invited me to play at his club either.
I have-
But I don't think he's a member, so that's okay.
Ouch.
Oh, wow.
Let's keep that on the DL. No, I am. I actually played this weekend.
Well, I
And
just try to give him an out, but he
Yeah,
stepped right in it.
I
Then
know.
that's a,
Well, they
no
don't they
excuses.
only let guests on like at the stupidest hours. And we are, with COVID, everything that's happened in the golf industry. If you're in the golf industry and you're not making money, dude, you got something really wrong.
Right.
Because these guys, these tee sheets are filled up for we can only do 7 days in advance, and it is completely packed.
Yeah, COVID's the best thing that ever happened to golf
I think so
since
too.
Tiger Woods.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how COVID opened those opportunities. And now we have, you know, a looming recession. Whether or not you want to debate whether or not it is, technically we are. I just think it's going to be back to the mild. Everybody today is thinking of 2008 recession. I just think they're missing the if you go back and look at the historicals on recessions, back to I'm geeking out on banking stuff. But anyway, we are in a recession. You gotta just call it like it is. Now, what does it look like? Well, we're also in an inflationary recession, which is going to make it feel a lot worse in the fall. And the fall is when I think we're going to see in 2022, we're going to see some things really play out because food prices will really hit us up hard. I'm not a prognosticator. I don't know about all this, but I do know that we are. You can't say we're not. It's just not as deep as 2008 because 2008 was a once in 100-year event.
Well,
And
it's
then we had a
because Rusty
pandemic.
was out there partying and lighting, yeah, with this.
boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
Thanks, Rusty.
Yeah. Thanks, Rusty, for your big booming up in New York in the clubs.
Hope it was worth it.
Well, we took out several banks on that deal, so I think Chris was
Not right
Chris
when I
was a
figured it to
casualty.
me. So
It
it's
was
true.
It was fun while the party lasted, but
Yeah.
the party ended at midnight.
I think this one will be a
Someone-
little bit softer landing.
the chandelier.
The chandelier didn't hit the head. So Rusty, as let's get back to so you started your business, you've grown your business, you've actually done it with your wife.
Yes, been a great partner. I'm just very thankful. 20 years we've been together now, and
Awesome.
she really helps, push me to be a better person, and that's all I can ask for. Out of
She's
her. And
actively involved in the business.
she's actively involved. We were both actually in the industry, in the mortgage industry, both doing the same thing. She's working for National City. I was working for First Franklin, owned by Merrill Lynch, and then she got the call on December 31st. They don't show up on Monday. We're done. We're closing. So
Wow. Really? It
yeah.
was that draconic. I mean,
Yeah.
do not show up.
Yep. Don't show up.
Is
4 o'clock
draconic a
conference call on December 31st. It was crazy. And we just actually, it was 2006.
Six.
Yeah.
Wow. They saw it coming before then.
Yeah.
So you guys obviously, do you guys co-own the business?
No, actually, when she opened an agency to her technically herself, but she didn't transition into the agency until 2012. When we opened it in 2011, I was actually working with another buddy, and then she helped transition us out of that situation, right? And then in 2012, we actually joined a networking group, and then I want to do another little shout out to some of my partners and everything out there, and with SNA and Southeast Network Agencies. There's 22 of us that we aggregate together. It's part of our risk enterprise management system and stuff. And so, by doing that, we can actually look bigger than just an individual agency. And then, it helps us protect each other. From a risk enterprise standpoint, it helps us maintain contracts, get bigger contracts, negotiate better commissions, things like that. So, but then, we always bring consultants in. We talk about business. We talk about the carriers, talk about the claims, the experience, things like that. So, it's just a great consulting group. Like you got the mine guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so
My mine guys.
having that is just, an important piece of driving your business and making sure you're accountable too, right? Because doing this is an accountability situation too, right? You're making public confirmation out there that you're going to do something.
This is going all over the world, and it can never be erased, Rusty.
That's right.
Everything you say. So no pressure.
Nope.
No, I'll tell you. He said something though that there.
I'm speechless.
Just messing with him.
I know that was good.
He was
I know,
nervous
it's
when he came in, and
I know,
and he's doing.
I know, but you just absolutely locked him down.
I know.
Doing?
No, you know what? And that's just because he's doing great. So now I can bust his chops. But
is doing great. Yeah, I
he
agree.
said something that is worth repeating, and it's just been a constant theme since we started doing this podcast. Chris, what are you looking at?
Nothing.
No. Is what I'm saying not
Facebook.
interesting?
No Facebook Live looks. I'm just seeing how many people are watching, bro. I'm just seeing how many people are watching.
Looks like 3.
So funny. It said 0, and then I get like 60 things like, hey, you saw that? I'm back on the podcast,
yeah.
everybody. Sorry, trying to do
So-
2 things at once, which I'm really good at, by the way.
Yeah. No,
What?
we've discussed this before. It's just doing many things at the same time poorly.
That's
So
my job,
but-
baby.
Rusty.
Great place
So
to be.
to keep us on point, he brought up a great thing that's been a theme that has bubbled up. We haven't premeditated this, and it's the fact that everybody's an entrepreneur and you feel like you're on your own, and the people who are successful are the ones who somehow figure out a way to get an accountability partner, get a group of trusted advisors, your own de facto board of directors, whatever it is. and I think that's just such a huge thing. You shouldn't be doing this by yourself. And there's a way to collaborate with other people. There are other people that care about you and want you to be successful. You have to be mature enough to take their advice, because I'm sure every once in a while you hear something in your group that you're not really thrilled about, but then all of a sudden you think about it a little bit and you're like, maybe they're not that stupid and maybe I should actually do that. You're smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Chris brought up a point earlier. What is it that you want to do with your business? Where do you see your business going, right? And how do you get to that next level? Because as I said earlier to you, off mic, I've got a job. I don't really have a business. I still work in it every day. So I've got to transition out of that mindset into a different mindset that you need to be able to, when you leave, it's worth something to somebody else. And if you're not there, it's still worth something to somebody else.
Right.
And that's a tough place to be, right? Because you got to let go.
It's
Letting go is really tough because
it is hard. That's your baby, bro. And yet you're
letting go means more golf. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
How about more UGA football games?
More Spain, more more Cabo,
more Spain, more Barcelona,
more
paella, which is going to be one of our upcoming podcasts, how to cook paella, which has nothing to do with running a business, but we're gonna get the Spanish guys on to teach us paella. But Rusty hits on an incredible point that we all face all the time. After 14 years, yes, I'm an overnight success who went on a few vacations, just a few in 2022. Okay. Just a few
in the third quarter of 2022.
Right. Vegas, Cabo,
second quarter,
Michigan, Barcelona, Spain.
Well, thanks for showing up on Wednesday night to have this podcast.
I know. Well, honestly, it was kind of tough to fit in, bro. It was kind of tough to fit in because I just worked on my fall program.
Special.
Wait till we get off mic. I'm going to tell you about my fall program for football, and I've got a lineup this year that's going to be decent, but next year's going to be awesome. Anyway, back to this. It is hard to get out of the management zone and get into the entrepreneur zone. And it's very frustrating because you'll be in these accountability calls and people will tell you, hey, Rusty, get out of your business. Right? Just don't go in the office 2 days a week. Okay, I won't. Okay, I won't. And you come back and you're like, well, what the hell are you doing? You're not doing it the way I thought you were doing. Okay, stop. No, stop. Oh my God, you just screwed everything up. So you get back in, no, Rusty, you have to stay out of it. I'm good. All right, let's talk about it. Chris, stay out of it. No, okay. That's really where it came from. And I was like, it's hard. And I said, okay, I realized now I've got to sit there and I've got to start documenting all the processes. You mean I got to close my door and sit in my office and document processes?
You love processes.
I do, but the documenting of them, it's not my thing. I want other people to document them. So I brought a guy in to document them for me because I couldn't sit there and stay focused on one flippant task for more than 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
All right.
That'd be a record.
Well, that is a huge record, but that's the hard part, right? And but I will tell you, and you hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. If you do it, it will set you free. And that's not tell the truth. It's document your processes and document and then empower your people to do your thing. But it's really hard to execute and let go. And so it sounds like you're in that mode right now.
We have a little saying, let's take a vacation, right? Because that's where you're going to find out.
There's Chris.
I got a t-shirt for that shit, baby. I picked that's my new t-shirt.
Because you were already there.
That's his new mission statement.
You're so far advanced than I am. I need to take more vacations. So this is where I'm going is that, when you take a vacation, you actually find out what you left behind. You really find out what you do have. You find out what your employees are about and how good they are and what they do well. And, some of those things just come so natural to some of us. And to me, I feel like it comes natural that I forget the coaching side of it. I only coach in crisis situations. I don't coach when it's a prime opportunity, when there's nothing else going on and say, hey, let me remind you that this, and this needs to be done or something of that nature, right? Because then it becomes micromanaging. So I try to find people that support my weakness well.
Oh, I love that line. Support my weakness well and coach in the prime opportunities. Take that to heart. I'm going to pat myself on the back for a minute because, well, then again, I am the insufferable egomaniac. But we started book club.
Let me get out of the way with the flying arms.
Whee! Thank you. So we started book
Do I have
club.
to pay for this? This is a really good comedy.
Well, it just goes to show you the in-person is much more fun than a Zoom podcast. I'm
Right.
telling you.
So we started book club, and it's called the 100 Days of In-Home Selling. And I started doing this with my sales guys, my estimators. And we sit down. And I said, guys, this is your opportunity to get more proactive. I have read this book now a dozen times by Jim Ryerson and Jim Cohern. Shout out to those guys. They did a great job. Jim's been on our podcast before, helped me institute my sales process. Right now, we're in the middle of reading the book with my sales guys. I'm still learning stuff. And first part of our sales meeting every Wednesday is, basically I'm beating the crap out of them. You did this wrong, you missed it.
You suck.
You're the worst. And then we pick up book
I don't
club,
know why I pay
and
you.
now you have this prime opportunity. So my feedback here for everybody is find a book and share it with your team and do book club. Because one of the things in that book that we just read literally this morning is that if you read, that sets you apart. And I will tell you, there's some other studies say if you read 30 books on a subject, you will become an expert. And if you listen to Audible 30 minutes a day, every day for 1 year, you will read 30 books. How about that? So you can do it.
Love it.
And if you find that book, it's a great rallying point. So when we get back to the book, that's back to me pumping them up and sharing some things with them and giving them insight and helping them. And one of the days is, hey guys, do you realize how much every minute of your day costs you, your value? So if you're in sales, what do you have to do to make your goal? If your goal is $1 million a year in sales, what does that break down into your minutes of at work? And that's what the beauty of in-home sales is that you have freedom, you're self-directed. And back to Rusty's point, I mean, Rusty's world, they're self-directed, they're salespeople. You're in their insurance business now, so they have time. But if you do that and help them on their sales and back to what you talked about, because sales today is way more relational,
Yes.
way more intuitive and analytical, and less, hey man, let's go out there and get hammered together, and then boom, 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 you can do my loans. Although I wish I had those days. Ever once.
I think you could probably relate to this too. Being in the corporate world, you learned that there are certain management styles. One is from a production style, and then there's one from an operation style. And I'm more in that production style, and my wife is more in that operational style. So we make a good team together, and probably answers that question a little bit better about what's the best attribute.
So
that my wife has.
you do have a partner, Rusty.
Well, hey, the one that I do need, right?
That's exactly right. And you
Yes.
complement each other well, and you're still married after 20 years.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's nice when you.
Yeah, Chris is genuflecting.
So
I did notice that was a chapter in the book to make sure she was all hands on deck, and
Yeah.
I'm thankful that mine was at the time, and thought I was a little crazy year 2, and you're
well, but
still
you-
not making a profit. In year 3,
Yeah.
you're barely scratching through, and then year 4 things get a little bit better. Year 5 a little bit better, and now you're in year 10, 11, and 12, and you are being able to do those things, take those vacations.
you're the overnight success just 10 years later.
Yeah.
There you go. Good job. Way to go, big guy.
Well,
Rusty mentioned a book. What book was that?
It's funny you bring that up. And this podcast is sponsored by From the Zoo to the Wild, your guide to entrepreneurial freedom and wealth, author Chris Falomia, who is soon to be your world.
Are we going to do a
Best-selling
podcast from Barcelona?
You know what? How about we just do a podcast for my house once?
I like that.
But which house is the one we have to ask? the
Well,
question of?
you've got the luxury. I
cabin?
don't know. I've only seen the one with the luxury pool and the massive stone work and
Wait, my insurance agent.
professionally landscaped.
My
gardens.
insurance agent's in the room. He doesn't know I have a pool. No, he does.
yeah, I do.
Kidding.
Still got to do that inspection though.
But going back to his point that Rusty alluded to in the book, I talked about get your spouse on board. I don't care, partner, spouse. And I did a horrible job of doing this because I did a bad job that I sold her on my vision, and I oversold her because of my exuberance, my irrational exuberance, to use the term. From
Liquor.
no, well, of
Wine.
course, yeah, no, it was, come on, irrational exuberance. That was from
Well,
Fed chairman. Anyway, I needed other people to really
so
vet it out.
transitory inflation, but that's a whole nother story.
Ooh,
So
wow.
let
big
you finish
words.
yours.
All right, I'll finish mine.
So basically,
when
you
you start
told
your
her
bus-
what you were going to do, and you didn't ask her. Is that right?
I asked.
No.
No, I told.
Yeah.
Should I
You-
make
you-
another
I'm
check
an
mark over here?
intolerable egomaniac.
No, it's a
How's the
really
perfect
important
spot?
thing when you're talking about your partner's involvement. I mean, you are super enthusiastic. They want, and you need to give them the permission to say, I don't know.
I tell you, it was
Do you do
hard.
marriage therapy too?
Oh, you do.
I'll answer that for you, Rusty. Yes, he does. Because
I'm with the couch.
I am an overnight success 14 years later, but I'm still in marriage therapy. You're right.
We'll give it up.
Two things. Starting a business when you're young and you're single is a risk. Starting a business when you're older and married and 2 kids and a lifestyle which everybody's become accustomed is a risk with a capital RISK. What the F are you thinking? I mean, it was a big deal. And
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to do it. And I looked at her and she was like, but you're basically, she said this too. You're in your prime earning years. And it wasn't her saying it to me. I knew it. I was working at the bank. I was making good money, but I also knew that I absolutely hated my job. And I was more fearful of being 70, to use Rusty's age that he brought up earlier. I was more fearful of being 70 and never have started my own business than have done what I did and made it all the way there, because and they even said, my family even said 2 years into it, is that, Dad, you're a lot happier. And my wife said, yep, you're definitely a lot happier. Now
We have no clothes.
we have no money. We can't go to the country club anymore because you're not a member.
But the view from the underpass is wonderful, Dad.
Can I use your cardboard box tonight?
It's so back to the book.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're thinking about starting it, you've got to think about those dark and despair days, and it's hard to do when you're sitting flush with your custom made shirts, custom made suits, custom made shoes. And
We get comfortable, right? You get comfortable in that environment, and the money just keeps coming, the check keeps coming,
Well,
right? But you got to
all-
have that burning desire.
Yeah.
Hey, no more boom boom. What? No, Chris needs boom boom.
Chris
wants more boom
definitely
boom.
needs boom boom.
Yeah, so it's hard.
Did
So
you leave your badge at the desk when you leave today?
don't come in tomorrow. What? So, man, we covered a lot of ground, and we're going to continue to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
So, where you guys are at today, I've asked a question. So, not looking to grow necessarily, want to grow the right way, because you said something earlier, and that's why I want to get back into it. You have the luxury today. You have ABCD clients, and we all have them. And in the beginning, we would do anything to anybody at any time when you start your own business. I've heard this from every entrepreneur, everybody who's been on the podcast. And those, sometimes we're doing that work with C&D clients. So it sounds like you are now starting to work on quality over quantity. Tell us a little bit more about ABCD and how you're doing that.
Yeah, I think that transition comes natural. It doesn't, it will just work itself out. It'll play itself out. Because you can't make that D client happy. That D client's never going to be happy, and they're going to try to find happiness somewhere else. Go right ahead. We're going to do our part until you find that next person. But that just kind of transitions out on its own, because those people are never going to be happy no matter what you do. The C client, obviously, they're kind of halfway in, halfway out. That's their life. That eventually they walk away too. But that A and B client who's serious about their business spends a lot of time and just getting their business to grow. They're going to want to be with someone that they can trust, and that someone's going to be there the whole time. Yeah, I don't want to get into premium, but the premium changes. Do you like the guy enough? Do you trust the guy enough? And if you do, then you're going to stick with them. And if your clients are getting taken care of, and you're doing the service on the back end, and you're taking care of them, and you're doing it with a smile, they're going to stay with you, because it is, in the insurance world, a lot of paper being pushed on a daily basis. We're renewing 5 clients a day.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people moving through the system, and there's 5 of us doing it. So,
wow. So wow, 5 clients a day. It's a big number. We're all sitting there. I mean, we're all salivating at that number, I'm sure, because you're like, oh my God, That's 5 clients a day. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're thinking, Rusty just did $5 million a day in business, because that's what we all do when we hear everybody else, because everybody else is always tonning it. But you've done a great job of doing what you do to build your business and build that transaction, but also build the relationship in a transactional business. I think that's the key theme here. Building a relationship in a transactional business is really hard, and that takes dedication, hard work, and doing what you guys do.
Yeah, I did this the other day in the BNI meeting, and I just was like, let my work speak for itself. I'm not really great at marketing, but my work and my experience should speak for itself and should bring a lot of value to you. And you'll just have to learn trust in that process, and that's what insurance is about, trusting. And so if you're working with an expert, make sure that they know what they're doing. And there's a lot of people in this business that don't know what they're doing and don't know how to write a policy. I write some big commercial policy coverages for some townhome communities, and I have agents call me all the time. What does that mean? You're in the business. You should know that.
Wow.
Yeah. That tells you something.
Right.
Mm.
And again, if you're a business person, you're a homeowner, you're a car owner, let's just say you're one of those 3 groups. Do you really know what your coverage is, and what does it get you when that time comes and when it's not good? So I would tell my personal story. So my son was in an accident. He was 17, turned 18 by the time it happened. And Rusty is the one who basically told me how to navigate him out of the system the best way. And his advice was something that I have friends who are lawyers. I've talked to them. I talked to other people, his advice was the one that helped my son get out of the system the quickest. And again, it was both of them were going into the same lane at the same time, and he ended up getting a ticket. And it was an unfortunate situation, and it was a bad situation. It should have just been a no fault situation, but it was a fault given to both. And Rusty's the one who guided me through it, which I had no clue how to do it. So that's where the value is. That's where the premium comes from. And that's why we all hate insurance. But I can tell you, I really like my insurance guy.
Well, and I'm happy to be insured.
Right.
I'd rather you work on your business
Then work on my insurance.
than work on your insurance, right?
Thank you, brother.
Call us.
All right.
Let us take care of those billing issues. Let us take care of those claims issues. We'll handle it for you.
Rusty, this has been a lot of fun. And so admittedly, Rusty has said, this is outside of my comfort zone. I didn't really want to come on here. I'm like, dude, you got to come on because I think you're going to be great. And Alan,
He was great.
he was great. We loved it. All right. But now you're on the spot. I have 3 questions I love asking people because I love hearing these answers. And I do know where you live. What is the favorite feature of your house?
So Chris, you were there, and you were an instrumental part in my feature of this new construction remodeling of the kitchen. So that has really changed the face of the house completely. So opening up that kitchen was awesome.
That's awesome.
Appreciate your help on that one. The last guy we were speaking with said, the best thing about a house is, it's livable. And I just really feel like our house is livable. I thought he had a lot of great points.
Yeah. I will tell you that I'm going to give 1A to Rusty's house, is that he is a huge University of Georgia Bulldog fans, Go Dogs, national champions.
Way to go. I'm so glad to be a national champion this year.
Thank you, Alan.
Does he have red countertops?
No. So he has an incredible backyard, and he does a great job grilling and smoking meats. That's right.
We haven't even talked about that.
I know.
Tailgate this year. Anybody wants to come?
Mm-mm.
That'll be Athens,
Come in.
Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Home games. I'll bring Alan. We'll be there. So favorite feature. So I think his backyard is phenomenal too. And that's a great hangout spot. But that's been awesome. All right. Number 2, when you go out, customer service pet peeve.
Well, it's for me, it's real simple, and it's answer the phone when the phone rings. I hate going to an automated attendant.
God, yeah.
Today it's just gotten worse, and it's just so much more frustrating. And I think communication is so important today. So you got so many ways to communicate, and to still use an auto attendant is still frustrating. You could do so much better.
All right. I got 2 stories on this one. Ready? Here we go. Number 1. I have.
Did we have a choice?
Nope.
Okay.
Mobile device device management. I have 32 iPads deployed in the field, and I have to keep control of them. And we have to know where they are at all times, and we have to also control user interaction and what the apps are. So we had a problem with an iPad. We had to get it, and I could not communicate with the iPad. And we're sitting in the office, and we had unfortunately a rogue employee. We're trying to find the iPad, and I emailed, I called, I got nothing. And I get back an email 2 hours later. Call this number. I call the number, and it says, if you are calling about iPad disablement, please press 1. I press 1. Please hang up and call a different number. You didn't give me the other number. That's awesome. All right, number 2. So
No option to press 0 either.
Right. I used to do call center implementations in banking, and what happened, we did a huge conversion for a bank, and what happened was a lot of customers got stuck in a queue that couldn't be answered because of our new system, the way it happened. And so what we had to do was I had to log in to the queue and do this. Thank you for calling XXX Bank. Goodbye. Thank you for calling XXX Bank. Goodbye. Thank you for calling XXX Bank. Goodbye. I had to do that to 125 people.
Oh my God.
I sat there.
Lifestyle management.
So do you think I pissed some people off because they were trying to check their balances on their accounts?
125 of them. Yeah.
I think I did, bro. And that was the best. So the voice they heard was, thank you for calling XXX Bank. Goodbye. Thank you for calling. Because that's the only way. Because what had happened is they got in this queue, and we couldn't get them out of this queue to get them over to other people. Technology problem. And the technology guys, I'm on this conference call, and I'm in consulting, and they said this. And true to form, your boy did this. You're fucking kidding me, right? I have 55 people on the phone call. I have these top level executives on the thing, and that's what I dropped was that. Of course, I got reprimanded for dropping the F-bomb, but I went out there in the middle of the call center, and it was dropping people left and right. I'm like, I think I earned that F-bomb. All right, that's a customer service pet peeve. I know what you mean. It's hard. Customer service today is even more important than ever.
Yes.
All right, number 3. A DIY car contractor nightmare story.
Was it the kitchen?
No, actually,
I just took a drink. Oh, come on, my God.
but thankfully, Chris was helping me on that.
Yeah.
Thank God.
The backyard was probably one of my DIY nightmares. It was just a struggle to get it completed, and concrete didn't come in, came in 2 different trucks, and it was 110 degrees, and they were trying to put the concrete in the back, and of course it cured in 2 different ways, and it just unraveled from there, because it's 800 square feet of concrete, and the guy was out of town for 2 weeks, and it's like, wait a minute, I need to have this done, and it didn't go well.
I don't think he realized he was working with Rusty Clifton.
Does Rusty have a tennis court in his backyard?
No, but concrete, I think here 2 things. Everybody thinks concrete's easy. I challenge everybody to go give it a shot.
Yeah.
Number 1, it's
Difficult.
not.
No.
Number 2, it is so variable, dependent on the conditions, the environment, your set. There's a lot that goes into it. Finding a good concrete manufacturer or a concrete layer is so big. We actually don't even do it in the handyman space because I didn't realize how hard it was, because it was one of the things that I actually grew up. My family actually did this work, so I kind of knew how to do it. And I didn't think it was as hard. Now realizing now it's that hard. So that's number 1. But number 2, how about taking that shit out? Hey, I'm not happy. Well, can you put a coating on it? No. What's your name? Rusty Clifton. It's not Jack Reacher, it's Rusty Clifton. I trained Jack Reacher.
Well, man, hey, that's maybe how we got that coating put on then.
So you guys ended up putting a coating on.
They had to do something.
Yeah.
It got to a point where, tensions got high. Let's just say it.
Yeah. I wish I had Rusty's name, because I usually use, do you know my wife? Because she's nice to you now, but you don't want to hear the rust.
She doesn't listen, does she?
No.
Oh,
Thank God.
In fact, she's got her hands full. She needs a big shout out. Way to go, Nicole.
In fact, she only made it through half my book.
Did you take out chapter 2?
Whoops. Oh, maybe that's where I think she did stop at chapter 2. And so on that point. All right, Rusty, thank you for coming in and sharing your time with us on the Safari Small Business. Yes, let's go. But how can we get a hold of you? How can people check out, find out about insurance, get insured the right way? You said you work in 15 states, obviously not 15 countries, but however, if you're living here, you're interested, how do you find out Rusty Clifton and what he does?
Yeah, one of the best ways is go to fairwayinsuranceadvisors.com, or you can call me at 678-252-0500, and one of my staff members will answer that phone. I promise you. So, and as long as you call between 8:30 and 4:30, that's when we'll have the most staff at the office.
Alan, anything to add to that?
I just love insurance guys' hours.
What was that
It's
number?
a little bit better than bankers, but
4:30.
you
This
got
time
my
of year, you can get 18 holes in after work.
You got my cell phone.
Fact, by the way,
Yeah.
I proved that over the weekend. That was nice. That's right. You can, if you skip it around. All right.
Longest day of the year, just the other day.
Just happened. I hope you guys gained some value out of this. Some incredible gold nuggets. Listen to an insurance guy, but also incredible background, incredible dude. You got some great information, great insight into what happens in this world of small business. Go make it happen, Adventure Team, and let's get up that mountaintop of success.
Cheers.
Out of here.
Cheers, Rusty.
Enjoyed it.